For today's video, I'm going to unpack my shopping from Lidl. Just come back from Lidl. And I'm going to show you what I bought. It's probably not going to be my whole week's shop, but I'm hoping it's going to be the majority of it. I probably will just need to pop out for some extra sort of fresh ingredients during the week. If you just want to see what I've got, if you're like me and you love seeing what's in people's baskets and their trolleys, then I will put a time stamp in the description. You can click on that and it will take you straight to the unpacking my shopping. But if you want to hang around, have a cup of tea and a chat with me, and I can tell you what I've been doing over the last couple of days, then obviously it would be lovely to have you stick around. So before I get on to the unpacking of my shopping, let me tell you where I've been over the last couple of days. I've been away in Romy the campervan, Romy the Romahome. I've been to Mid Wales again. I have completely fallen in love. I mean, I've always been in love with Wales, and I've been to Mid Wales an awful lot in campervans over the years. But since I did a trip sort of, well, it was last month, I just can't keep away. And it just, over the last year, I have been to quite a few places in the campervan. I went up to Yorkshire and the Midlands area. I've been down to the New Forest and the South Coast. I've been to London. And as I said, that trip around Mid Wales, and honestly, the Mid Wales trip was so just gorgeous, and it's kind of my home country. So I've been back. I spent 2 nights. It was kind of a bit of an impromptu trip. It wasn't planned. I took food that I already had in the house, so it was pretty inexpensive. And just me and Teddy shot off for 2 nights. And I went to Llandrindod Wells. I'll put the name here, but beautiful, beautiful town in Powys. The whole county of Powys is so lovely because it's very welcoming to people in campervans, and there's lots of places where you are allowed, legitimately allowed to park overnight. And so I did. I've been to Llandrindod Wells and just, had a most gorgeous, beautiful stay. Llandrindod Wells itself is, the architecture in the town is incredible. It's Victorian, and it was a rural town back before Victorian times. And then someone discovered sort of medicinal properties in the waters around Llandrindod. And the Victorians were very much into their wellness. So once these waters were discovered, there's a few springs in the area, it became a very, very fashionable town. It has got a railway station, so all the very sort of well-to-do Victorians came there to take the waters, and lots of these beautiful hotels sprang up in the town. And they've preserved it so well. It is really unspoilt, and I've been there many, many times with work and campervan trips previously. But this time, hello Teddy. Teddy's heard me talking. She's just behind. She's catching up on her sleep. But we didn't do anything really. I had a little wander around the town, but we stayed by the lake. There is this most gorgeous sort of ornamental lake. It's got a boathouse with a cafe on it. And we parked up there, and I slept like, I've been sleeping really well anyway, but just there, it was like, I don't know if you've ever had an operation and you wake up from the anaesthetic and you've got that really trippy feeling, like really drowsy kind of happy feeling. Well, that's how I slept. Like Romy's really comfy anyway, so I always have good sleeps. Teddy wakes up probably twice in the night to go out and have a wee, so she sort of wakes me up. So sort of was able to go out and just stand on the grass and just had that really well-being feeling, and then got straight back in the van and just immediately drifted off. So it was, honestly, I feel rejuvenated, and I felt well before I went. So it's been 2 really, really lovely days of literally exploring the area around Llandrindod. Even old Teddy's been happy to, I can't say stroll around, but she just goes very, very slowly and sniffs around, does her pee mails, and yeah, pretty much sleeps the rest of the time. So that's where I've been the last couple of days. I didn't film anything, and I was going to, but I think I was feeling so completely relaxed and chilled. I didn't want anything to stop it. So here I am back home, and been to the shops because the cupboards are bare. And at the last video I did, I showed you meals I'm making in my Instant Pot. And just before I went, I made a spaghetti bolognese, and it is completely unorthodox because the spaghetti is cooked with the sauce, so it's like an all-in-one, and it was lovely. A little reminiscent of the good old-fashioned tinned spaghetti bolognese that I used to love as a kid, except this one was really tasty and completely identifiable ingredients in it. And I made loads, so there's a couple of meals frozen, and I took 2 nights worth with me. Teddy had her little turkey breast and vegetable meals, so very inexpensive. I paid £5, I think, for car parking in the town for a couple of hours. I paid for 24 hours, but we ended up going to the lake, as I say. So yeah, completely cheap trip other than the fuel. But yeah, let's look at what I bought for food this week. Now, with my budget, just to recap, I do allow £400 a month for food, which is a lot of money, I think, and I would like to spend less. The budget I had when I was married was £500 for 2 of us, and we did used to go over that. So I was thinking 400 would be a generous budget for 1 person. But I think that saying is true. 2 can live as cheaply as 1, because I don't find it cheaper cooking for just 1. And that's why I like the Gusto boxes, in all honesty, because they work out pretty cost effective. Especially when I get my money back on the boxes. But as you know, it's the summer, I'm doing my own cooking, and I'm not really, the whole process isn't about saving money really, although, you know, it would be nice if I could eat nicely for less, that would be wonderful. But it is more about eating for my health, not on any diet at all, but just less processed food, I suppose. And you'll see in the ingredients, there are a couple of processed things, but the bulk of it is ingredients to make things in the Instant Pot, because the other thing is I do not want to be slaving over a stove and an oven. So the Instant Pot is great. It's been making my meals maybe 4 at a time. Some go in the freezer, because eating the same thing 4 days on the trot is a bit of a push, even for me. So it's nice if I can make a few meals, put half in the freezer, and then I can sort of mix and match. Anyway, that's the preamble over. I'll show you what I bought. Now, I did go to Home Bargains first, not for food. I'm trying to avoid Home Bargains and B&M Bargains and places like that, because I'm human and I do get tempted by tat sometimes. And it's totally against my beliefs of like this consumerism. And I find myself when I'm in there, oh, that's pretty, oh, that's nice, oh, that would be lovely. So I've just been avoiding it. But I did really want to go in there today for some baking pans, because they do nice quality baking tins. They're nice and heavy. So I did call in there, so let me show you what I got at Home Bargains. But this isn't going on my food budget, this will go on my fun general spend. I didn't resist the tat completely. I did buy these. I love, you know, the strawberry pencil-y type things. So they're all different colours and they've been opened. I have to say I'm disappointed. They're just completely tasteless. Don't taste licoricey. My taste is terrible anyway. So you know, it's possibly my taste, but they literally just taste of sweet sugar. That's all they taste of. And I find I've gone off chocolate because chocolate is just like a really horrible waxy texture. So, hey ho, all the better for my non-processed ingredients though. The real reason I went in is to get some good baking tins. The ones I've got are quite cheap and in the oven they tend to warp and go horrible. So I've got a square one. It's by this Jane Asher and the base lifts. So I bought that because, again, to try and cut the amount of processed biscuits and cakes and things. I want to make my own, and I love just a good old-fashioned sponge with glacé icing and sprinkles on. My grandson loves it. So I'd like to make one and cut it up and have that as a little treat instead of buying biscuits. So I got that one, and as you can see, it's nice and heavy. It was £2.50, which I think is excellent. Likewise, I bought the long one for cooking biscuits and things really, and again that was £2.50, but it looks really nice and solid, so I'm quite happy. So it was, I think, £6 for all of that, so that's going on my fun budget. And then I did a Lidl shop, and do love Lidl. I can't get absolutely everything I like there, so there will be a few other trips. One of the things I need, which I get in Sainsbury's, is my beautiful bedtime tea, which I'm drinking right now. Where is it? I drink it all day long and love it. So I spent £48 in Lidl, and this is what I got for it. A pack of sparkling waters. I'm very conscious of the amount of plastic I use, and no doubt somebody will say something in the comments. It is bad using this amount of plastic. I've tried to go without these, and I bought a like a water filter in the fridge, which I do love the chilled water, and it does taste nice and clean. But there is I don't like sodas and cokes, things like that. I do like sparkly water, and I like a slice of lemon in it. And I also like it in the camper van. And I just haven't found anything that I like as much as my sparkly waters. So yes, the plastic police aren't going to be happy with me. But yeah, let's look, see what else is in this bag. I've got the Italian ground coffee. I love this one. I have at least 1 cup of coffee every day, first thing in the morning. It's the first thing I do when I'm up, once I've fed Teddy, and I use an AeroPress. I don't like coffee machines. I used to have a cafetiere, but I just found it really messy to clean. So I use an AeroPress, and I take it in the camper van with me as well. And I find that perfect, and I like the barista oat milk in it. So this is one of my processed ingredients, and I've come back from the camper van and I thought I'm not gonna cook cookies or cake today. So I've bought these to replace Lidl Don't Do Garibaldi, and hi Garibaldi. I've got a craze with Garibaldi biscuits. Any biscuits with fruit in, I am a sucker. And these are, I think they're £1.99. They are absolutely gorgeous. Real butter in them. So yeah, those are my little treat with a cup of tea. Got the little Lidl magazine. I've got the Welsh salted butter. I got another pack of these thin cut steaks. I used them in the Instant Pot last week with sushi rice and a couple of Asian sort of sauce ingredients, and it made a gorgeous all-in-one bibimbap. Is that how I pronounce it? Anyway, it was gorgeous and I liked it so much. I'm going to go in again with another one this week. Also got some diced chicken breast to attempt a similar Instant Pot kind of mild curry using coconut milk, which I've got in my cupboard. And that's why it's difficult looking at my ingredients. It's not exactly a week's worth money-wise of food, because some ingredients I've already got and some I've had to buy, which will last much longer than a week. But anyway, it's nice just to see what people buy. I've bought a cucumber. Love cucumber in sandwiches. If I have a sandwich, don't really have that many, but I've made some bread rolls. They're in the freezer. I've got one out. It is gone 4 o'clock. I forgot to have it at lunchtime, and that's why I bought the cucumber, really, to do like a cheese and cucumber roll. Completely forgotten. So what I'm going to do for tea tonight, really can't be bothered even to make an Instant Pot meal. I'm going to have that cheese on toast for tea tonight. Yeah, basic. Back to the shopping. I've got the free-range eggs, but they're mixed sizes, so very good value. I've got 2 sweet potato, and that's for Teddy's meals that I'm cooking in the Instant Pot. And I've also bought a turkey mince for her food. Some spring onions for the bibimbap. I cannot say it. Also got some carrots to go in one of these Instant Pot meals, and a red pepper. As I said, I am trying to up the veggies, salads, fruits. Luckily, I don't think there's a single veg I dislike. I love veg, I really do, and salads. Don't need that much fruit. I've got some apples over there, Pink Lady apples, which me and my grandson love. I mean, I quite like fruit, it's just, I quite like frozen. Talking of frozen, I got frozen cauliflower and broccoli. Again, it's for the Instant Pot for Teddy's food. And I gotta be honest, frozen, like if I was eating those veg as a side, I don't like frozen veg so much, it's a bit squishy. But for the Instant Pot, honestly, it works out much less expensive. And like sometimes I keep veg, mean to use it, and then it goes off in the fridge. But with the frozen, it's so convenient. I'm expecting my grandson over at some point, and his favourite treat of all is he likes 1 bourbon biscuit and 1 custard cream, and he calls brown and yellow. So he has one each. That's his favourite treat of all. I've got some Greek yogurt because I've made them a couple of times. These people on TikTok make these really quick breads using just ordinary flour, Greek yogurt, make a dough, and you can just make tiny amounts, and it's just nice sometimes. Mix in some mixed seeds with it and cook it in the air fryer. I had it for lunch a couple of times with just like a piece of cheese and apple, because I think I've said before, I don't buy bread because it just goes off. I don't use it, but it's like a little breadstick almost. It's really nice. I've got my favourite milk. I love the Lidl brand oat. I like the barista one because it's really nice and creamy. And I have that in my coffee in the morning. Lidl sometimes do these rewards, and they do these, like over the summer holidays, they're doing these little games you play on the app, and it gives you a spin and win. I won a donut, a pink iced donut, It was completely free. Don't know if I want to eat it myself. I was kind of hoping maybe I would see my grandson. He will take it or leave it. So really, I'm not sure why I went for it really. What else? Some of the basics I needed is this is ground black pepper. I normally use black pepper in a little grinder, and that's what I add to my food. But a few of these Instant Pot recipes, particularly the Asian ones, have the really finely ground one to marinate the meat. So I bought it there. And likewise, they often use dried garlic. So I bought some garlic granules. Got fresh garlic here, but they particularly use the dried. So I'm not sure why. Anybody know? Regarding the cooking I'm going to do, I've seen a few nice sort of Twix inspired bakes using ground almonds for the flour. They're supposed to be a bit healthier, and the caramel they make using dates blended. So I got the ground almonds for that. Not sure when I'll get round to doing this, but I like to have the ingredients here. A pack, the one I showed you earlier was the salted version. This is the unsalted for cooking. I am off the baking margarine, which I've used all my life, you know, the Stork baking margarine, because I do find it makes nice cakes, but it's just the process of making that margarine is so like unhealthy. It's got to be the worst food, and that's why I'm avoiding, apart from the biscuits, the processed food you buy. It's full of these rubbish ingredients, so I'm trying to use butter in my cooking because it's just me and my grandson when he's here. I don't need to make huge amounts. My favourite cheese is Cathedral City, and I particularly love the extra mature. My grandson adores cheese as well, so it's quite a big block, but that will last me ages. And in fact, they very often go a little bit mouldy before I use them all up. But I like them because they've got these resealable packs. Nothing worse than having a block of cheddar in the fridge and it's open and not sealed and it all goes crusty and dry and yuck, horrible. Pack of lemons for my slice in my sparkly water. I got some radish and that's inspired from my Gusto recipes. They often send radishes with like white wine vinegar or rice vinegar, and you thinly slice the radish, put a bit of salt and sugar over it, and then some rice wine vinegar, and it's like a quick pickle and it goes really nicely with the Asian meals. So got some of them. Finally, getting a bit defrosted now. This is again the Asian style stir fry veg. It's got bean sprouts in it, some green beans, a whole mix. I bought fresh bean sprouts last week and I used them for one of my Instant Pot meals, and then the rest of the pack went a bit slimy. And I know, surprisingly, bean sprouts are a real risk for like food poisoning. So once I saw them go in really slimy, they went straight in the bin, which is a waste. Also, I nearly forgot to show you because I put these in the fridge soon as I got in. Alcohol allowance. I'm not sober. I do drink alcohol. I do try and have, I don't try, I do put boundaries around alcohol for myself. And I bought for this week 2 Asahis. They're my favourite beer. They're really big ones actually, 620 mils. So I'd only have one of them per day. And that feels quite tipsy after one of these. I get them in Lidl. So that was included in my £48. Or if I don't have an Asahi, it'll be one of their wines. They do really nice wines, so I get a bottle of that per week. If I'm going out or if it's a special occasion, I may have a glass of wine or something somewhere, but most weeks I tend to just stick to, yeah, my boundaries. And if I have a bottle of wine in the house, I'll only drink half of it per day, because I find that is enough for me to have that really nice feeling after drinking wine. I enjoy it just before I eat. Anything over that and I tip over the edge of enjoyment into hangover territory. So that works for me. I don't feel deprived, and I think I'm sort of, I mean, it would be healthier not to drink anything at all, but yeah, that's what works for me right now. And so that is all of the shopping. As I say, it came to £48, and yes, it's ingredients for Teddy's food, some ingredients for probably a week's worth of food for me, because today is Thursday and on Sunday I'm going out for Sunday lunch with my cousin, so I won't need to eat a big meal on Sunday. So that's probably the ingredients for my meals for the week. Let me show you what I have for, I suppose, brunch. So I don't eat breakfast really. I have found I'm not really that hungry in the morning, and I find the coffee with my lovely creamy barista kind of fills me up. And I found, like years ago, if I started to eat breakfast cereal or toast, I would actually be hungrier at lunchtime than I am by just not eating. I tend to get hungry about 11 in the morning. So I struggle to know what to have for lunch, because, as I've said, don't particularly like sandwiches. I tend to eat my lunch sort of later on in the afternoon. But what I have, conscious of nutrition and all the rest of it, I've been drinking these, they're shakes. Let me show you. Y Food. This is food, they're called. They're not diet shakes, and I'm not sponsored, by the way. This isn't a sponsor, it's just something I like. I started drinking them last year, I think. They are a meal in one, so they're like, if you count calories, they're about 500 in one. But the main thing is they got 30 grams of protein and loads of vitamins, minerals, like a list as long as your arm. There's no sugar in them. But most importantly, my taste, as I said, is so rubbish. These actually taste nice to me. And I get the same flavours. I get the vanilla, berry, there's like a hazelnut one. I just love, and a banana one. They really genuinely fill me up. They're so convenient because they don't need to be kept in the fridge. So for like in the camper van, absolutely perfect. And I know, yes, more plastic. I budget £20 a week for, well, 9 days. I spend £20 for 9 of them, and I get them in Holland and Barrett. Some supermarkets do them, but the Holland and Barrett near me is an outlet one. It's in the MacArthur Glen shopping place, and they do an offer where you buy 2 and you get 1 free, so it works out less expensive. Lidl do an equivalent, their own type of like all-in-one meal drink as well, and that's really nice. But actually this, buying it in the outlet, works out less expensive. So more plastic, I'm afraid, but I do like them, and I know when I've had one of them, I've had all my vitamins for the day. So yeah, that's pretty much what I eat. I have one of them late morning, and then something at lunchtime, whether it's a little bread, sticky cheese, apple, occasionally a sandwich or something bready, I suppose. And then, yeah, evening is my Instant Pot meal. as a treat in the evening. Well, I guess it's going to be that tonight. And then later in the week, my final cup of tea before bed with a little something sweet. And that's it. That is my week. Let me know, what do you think of my budget? So that's 48 plus 20, that's £68. But that's not going to be it, because I will need probably some toiletries or some washing, cleaning stuff. Maybe some more fresh ingredients. So yeah, that's how I spend £100 a week. Anyway, hope you're all well. Let me know what your favourite meals are and how you budget. How much do you budget a week for your food? I'll see you next time.